everybody. Welcome to another edition of Conference Carolina's Chats. I'm pleased to be joined today by Francis Marion's own Cullen Dore. Cullen, how you doing today?
Doing fantastic, Brian. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Yeah, I appreciate you joining us. This is our Division Two Day, D2 Days, we like to call it February 22nd, second annual D2 Day. This is our special edition. And, with you being heavily involved in the National SAC and, everything you do for Conference Carolinas, you kind of seem like the natural fit for this. And I'll lead you in there. Kind of tell everybody what you are doing. Obviously, lead with what kind of student athlete you are, but then what you're doing at the national level as well.
Yeah, so at Francis Marion University in good old Florence, South Carolina, I'm a cross-country track and field student athlete. I'm studying mass communication with a focus in broadcasting, and I am the Conference Carolina's D2 National SAC rep. And yeah, with that, we just represent the entire voice, or I represent the entire voice of the Conference Carolina's student athletes and really vouch for their well-being for D2.
That's a lot. Obviously, that means you have a heavy role. You also get to be in meetings with some of our directors of athletics. You get to have a heavy voice among the student athlete. What does that mean to you? And how special is it? As you mentioned, maybe to you, you're just joking when you say it, little Florence, South Carolina, but it's a big role nationally for Francis Marion.
Yeah, I think definitely one of the things my goal in this was sort of to put Florence on the map a little bit. Like it's great to be able to represent all of these student athletes and just the circumstances leading up to me being able to fill this role. I'm just extremely grateful. And sometimes I find myself in boardrooms with presidents and chancellors and um, Governor Charlie Baker, the incoming NCAA president. I find myself a couple of feet from people that have found so much success in their career in college athletics. And I often take a step back and just say, wow, what a great position I'm in right now. And I'm so happy that I can just do whatever I can to push the student athlete voice in the way that I do.
Yeah, speaking of that student athlete voice, obviously, when you choose a school, sometimes you're thinking about that kind of stuff. Sometimes you're not, you're trying to find the best fit for you as a student athlete. But now that you're involved in that, you get to see a little bit more why Division II is so special and how it's so unique within the NCAA framework. What does that mean to you?
Really, and it's sort of increased in my life as I've got more involved with the NCAA nationally, but really just emphasis that D2 puts on life in the balance, really not focusing on um, athletic development to the point where we're going to be professional athletes. Yes, some people in Division II make it out into the professional world athletically, but really Division II is just about the balance of academics, being a student, and participating in athletics and continuing that, letting athletics be the avenue for you to pursue a higher education. And that really, really stuck with me when I was coming out of high school, choosing an institution. I will admit that I'm not necessarily D2, D1 running material, but I think I definitely found a home on Division II, both athletically and academically.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're right. Everybody's different, but even at Division I level, the majority of those student athletes are not going pro. That's why the NCAA has that tagline because you're going pro in something else, and that's what makes it special. One of the unique things, you got the side of things from a student athlete at Francis Marion, but also the Conference Carolinas side of things. How do you, when you're in these situations, kind of talk through how special it is to be in Conference Carolinas and the way we tell our story a little bit differently, even within the Division II landscape?
Yeah, I think definitely looking at how Conference Carolinas does things as opposed to all the other conferences that I'm able to be exposed to through whether it's the NCAA convention or super region conventions is really their emphasis on being champions in body, mind, and soul and how that reflects in our competition, in our sportsmanship, and other stuff of that nature.
So one of the unique things that on top of that is obviously that you get to interact with all the, not only the national people, but we're talking about the other SAC representatives within Conference Carolinas and, have the leading the way retreat. You have different times that y'all reach out, in Zoom meetings. You get to work with Jill Robbins, who does a fantastic job as assistant commissioner, kind of leading the role at the league office in that way. How much fun is it to kind of see all of that inner workings and how things may be totally different on Francis Marion's campus than it may be at Emmanuel's campus, for example?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the more eye-opening things that I've experienced on national SAC and also even working at from a conference level with all the other schools in Conference Carolinas is a small religious institution isn't going to have the same student athlete population and culture and all these other things that maybe a Simon Fraser might have, right? One of the bigger D2, the biggest D2 institution. And Francis Marion sort of falling a little bit towards the middle in that, being around 5,000,
Mm.
and a public institution. It's just nice to be able to bring what I have and my experiences to the table and be able to hear what others have and hear their ideas and what maybe work and maybe what might be feasible for a small school and what be feasible for a larger school.
Yeah, we're obviously talking on a global macro level, however you want to phrase it, with everything you got going on, but you're also very busy. You're the embodiment of that Division II student athlete, and that you always have a ton going on. I know when we're trying to communicate or you're communicating with Jill, it's always trying to fit around your class schedule and our work schedules and everything going on. You probably don't have a typical day, but what is a normal day for you on the Francis Marion campus?
I mean, I'd say a normal day, um, waking up and just starting off on a positive note, happy that I'm alive, happy that I'm healthy. Um, of course, eat some breakfast, go to class, talk with my roommates a little bit of a decompression before I start the cycle of being a student athlete. But from there, it's just to class and then to practice and participate in some extracurricular activities, whether it's a fraternity, a club on campus. I do a lot with sports photography, athletic communications, working with our communications office. But really, it's just repeating that over and over and over again with little different college experiences sprinkled in between. And it really makes for a fantastic experience.
Yeah, and then also trying to fit in studying in there a little bit too, right?
Just a little bit, just
Just
a
a
little
little
bit.
bit,
Oh,
and he's kind of he's yeah. I was about to say he's joking a little bit as he throws his Elite 23 award on the screen, which that means you have good grades for those that don't know. That goes to the highest GPA at our championship event in each particular sport. So congratulations on that. Shows the kind of student athlete that you and what you're talking about, the body, mind, and soul, the holistic approach to the everyday. So kudos to you for sure. But that's why I want other people to know that we're kind of joking when you're just cramming it in because you're finding a way to get that studying in, obviously. And you mentioned working with Michael Hawkins, who's an absolute legend in the communications field, and Alex and everybody else within the sports information, communications, athletics. And Murray as the AD does a great job kind of helming that and working with them as well. What have you learned through that has kind of helped you frame some of like what you want to do for a living?
definitely working at my time with Francis Marion, working with the athletic departments, whether it's with media or maybe pushing a little bit of paperwork. It's sort of how to balance a lot of work and a lot of responsibilities of an athletic department between a very small amount of people, but being able to do it with success and making ourselves still present externally as though we are 100% fully staffed and we are 100% thriving. But I mean, each athletic department has their certain issues and their understaffings and stuff like that. But I think that what Murray Hartzler has going on here with our current situation, I think we do a really good job with what we have.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think that's a great look at it. And as I said, Francis Marion's had a good thing going in that way for a long, long time. And we're pleased that, you've joined us over the last few years here in Conference Carolinas because it's increased that on our end as well. But, one of the unique things with that is that you kind of, and we're going to unveil something in a second, but, you've also started working kind of in the media side of things at the national SAC level. What does that look like and what role was that for you?
Yeah, so recently at our the national convention in San Antonio, Texas in January, we ran our elections for our executive board, and I put my name in the hat for the external communications coordinator position on executive board, and I was fortunate enough to be elected into that position. So with that comes the responsibilities of just sort of representing Division II Student Athlete Advisory Committee through social means. So I run our Twitter. We're going to try to push out an Instagram coming here soon, and really just letting everyone know what we're doing with National SAC and how we're here for the student athlete voice.
Yeah, and really highly encourage everybody to follow D2 SAC on Twitter, and as you mentioned with some of the Instagram stuff. I know personally, I look at it all the time, and and now I even like a little pride that you're doing it too. So I know somebody in Conference Carolina is involved with that as well. But expounding on that, that little unveil that we got is that I like talking to you. I don't mind interviewing people, but at the same time, we really believe in kind of giving that student athletes that voice and the chance to do a little bit more with that voice. And so, the announcement is that we're going to give you a chance to talk to different people in Conference Carolinas through, Conference Carolinas chats. And, we're excited that in the next few weeks, we'll have some different episodes and different things to come out, more to come. But how excited are you for that?
I mean, just from a media background, being a broadcast major, I love talking to people. I love hearing their story. The more and more I get involved with National SAC, I'm falling deeper and deeper in love with student athlete experience, student athlete voice. So I am over the moon to be able to communicate with these student athletes and hear their stories and give some entertaining content to the Conference Carolinas and even beyond institutions that might tune into those episodes.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's all about, again, one of the things we want to do is tell our story completely differently than anybody else's. We all got some of the same type of story in Division II, and that's what makes this D2 day special. But at the same time, we have a unique side of it on the Conference Carolinas end, and we're excited that you're going to work with us to help collaborate to tell that story even differently from a student athlete angle. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited to get started.
Well, and again, I thank you for your time today with this. This has been really enlightening. I think one of the great things with this is people are going to learn that a lot goes into being a Division II athlete, and that's why we wanted to highlight it today and then unveil this great thing that we're going to even start telling the story a little bit more over the next few weeks and maybe even years. Who knows how it goes? We look forward to seeing how it works. So good luck with the rest of the semester, and we'll let everybody know, and just follow us on social media at Conf Carolinas. That's at Conf Carolinas, and we'll have more information out there in the weeks to come. Thanks, Cullen.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
This is Conference Carolinas.